Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. My name is Nikita and I'm the product manager at Tax 990. Today we're going to talk about the 990N filing requirements and the process of filing with Tax 990. If you have questions during the presentation, please add them to the chat and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. We do want to mention we're not tax advisors and we will not be providing specific tax advice. We will purely be discussing IRS e-filing requirements and the process of e-filing. For specific tax questions, please contact a tax advisor or the IRS. This presentation will be recorded and available at tax990.com. During today's webinar, we'll be discussing the 990N form, the 990N filing requirements. We'll review the process of filing the 990N with Tax 990. We'll do a short Q&A and we'll look at our upcoming webinars. In 2019, the IRS mandated the e-filing of all 990 series returns. This includes the 990N form. The 990N, also referred to as the e-Postcard, is a very short three-part return that is meant to confirm to the IRS that your organization had gross revenue of less than $50,000 during the tax period. When filing the 990N, there's not quite as much information required as there is with the other 990 forms. Unlike with the 990 or 990EZ, you're not required to report specific revenue, expenses, contributor information, governing body information, or activities on the 990N. The 990N requires you to report the organization EIN, tax year, legal name and mailing address, any doing business as names, the name and address of the principal officer, the website address if the organization has one, and confirmation that the organization's annual gross receipts are $50,000 or less. The majority of the information required to complete a 990N can be found on the organization's IRS determination letter. The 990N form is only applicable towards an organization that is not recognized as a private foundation and has annual gross receipts of $50,000 or less. If your organization is recognized as a private foundation, you're required to file the 990PF regardless of gross receipts. The 990N has a few more restrictions than some of the other 990 series returns. As mentioned, it's only used to report that the organization made less than $50,000. If your organization needs to report any additional information, they would need to choose to file a 990EZ or a 990 long form instead. The 990N cannot be used if an organization is filing a final return. This means if the organization is closing, dissolving, or terminating, they would need to choose to file a 990EZ or a 990 long form instead. The 990N does not qualify for an extension. If you're running out of time to file the 990N form, you cannot file an 8868 extension form to apply for a 6-month extension. An organization is not able to report a short tax year on a 990N. If the organization is changing a tax year, it would need to be reported on a 990EZ or 990 long form. A short tax period is not accepted on a 990N because the IRS wants more information as to why you're reporting a short tax period. And as mentioned, you're not able to provide explanation or additional information on a 990N form. The 990N does not have an amendment option. If you file a 990N by mistake, or you make a mistake on the information provided on the 990N and the form is accepted, there's not an option to amend it like there is with the 990EZ or the 990 long form. You would need to contact the IRS to determine how to proceed. We're going to look at the process inside the Tax 990 application here in a few minutes. However, to file a 990N form, you're going to provide the previously mentioned information regarding the EIN, tax year, organization legal name and mailing address, doing business as name if applicable, name and address of the principal officer, website address if applicable, and confirmation that the organization's annual gross receipts are $50,000 or less. Once you provide this information, you'll review a summary format, process your filing fee, and transmit the return to the IRS. When filing a 990N with Tax 990, you'll receive a summary of the 990N in a PDF format that you can keep for your records. You can keep records of all of your 990 series filing in your Tax 990 account, as well as the information and form status. When the form is accepted by the IRS acceptance letter will also be available in your Tax 990 account. Tax 990 is also SOC 2 certified, which is just a very extensive certification process we go through annually to ensure that your information is secure. And we have a live support team to assist you if you have questions on navigation or the process of filing with Tax 990. Since the IRS has mandated e-filing, your organization must use an e-file provider to complete and transmit your return. The IRS mandates that all 990 forms be filed electronically. Choosing an IRS authorized e-file provider is crucial. However, you should also keep in mind that the features and tools they offer are also important to making the right choice for your organization. Just like choosing a technology-driven accounting software, choosing an e-file provider that meets your needs will streamline reporting. Tax 990 is an IRS authorized e-file provider with over a decade of experience e-filing tax forms. Collectively, Tax 990 and its sister products offer the option to e-file over 40 different tax forms, including business tax forms, such as 1099, W-2, 941 forms, ACA forms such as the 1094 and 1095, and personal extension forms such as the 4868 or business extensions like the 7004 form. For more information on our other solutions, please reach out to our support team. Filing a return with Tax 990 can be done in just a few simple steps. Once you have created your account and added your organization, you'll choose the form you need to file. You'll add all of the necessary information to the return, and once you complete the return, Tax 990 will confirm the form and information provided has met all the IRS form instructions using our internal audit. When you've cleared your audit errors, you'll have the option to share the return as necessary, and the final step is just transmitting it to the IRS. Now we'll take a few minutes to look at the process of filing a 990N within the Tax 990 account. Once you've created your account and added your organization, you'll choose the organization from the Select Organization drop-down menu. From there, you'll indicate the tax year that you need to file for and the form that you need to file for. Tax 990 always supports the current and 2 prior tax years for our 990 series returns. So right now we support 2023, 2022, and 2021 tax years. We're going to go ahead and indicate we would like to file a 2023 tax form. And then we'll click Start Now on the 990N, also known as the e-Postcard. When you begin the form, you'll indicate whether you're working on a calendar tax year or a fiscal tax year. A calendar tax year is always a January 1 through December 31 tax period. Anything other than January 1st through December 31st would be considered a fiscal tax year. If your organization operates on a fiscal tax year, you would click on Fiscal Tax Year and then choose the beginning date for the tax year in reference. When you have to change the beginning date, you have to change the month and choose the specific day of the month. So you'll click we'll say it's February, and then we'll click the first day in February. And this will automatically generate a 12-month fiscal tax year time frame and tell us when our due date is. For today, we're going to go ahead and indicate we work on a calendar tax year. Then we'll just click Next and proceed to the summary page. The summary will indicate all of the information your organization provided when adding the organization to the account. So it will automatically pull this information onto the form for you. So it'll have our organization details, including name and address and EIN. If I had a doing business as name or a website address, those would be indicated here as well. If I need to edit any of that information during the process, I can click Edit from here. It'll also list the principal officer details and the tax period we selected on the previous page. The last part of filing the 990N is to indicate this question down here to confirm that our organization had gross receipts of $50,000 or less. Once we've checked that box, we'll go ahead and click Next. As I had mentioned, Tax 990 does an internal audit prior to allowing you to transmit your return. And this means that we make sure that the form and the information provided has met all of the IRS e-file requirements. If we had any missing information or inaccurate responses, we would have an error on this page here, and we would be able to click Fix Error and return to that section and edit any necessary information. Today we'll go ahead and proceed since we don't have an error on our form. Once we've provided our credit card information to pay for the return, we'll be taken to the final review, where we can again review all of the details of the information and click Pay and transmit to the IRS. Once we've transmitted the return to the IRS, we'll navigate back to our home page, and this will allow us to see the return information, the form type, the tax year, the return status, and download a PDF of the return summary or the receipt. As I mentioned, Tax 990 will provide status updates during each step in the filing process. So once the IRS accepts the return, this notification will update to accepted, and if it's rejected, it'll update to rejected, and you'll be able to view the rejection, edit the information, and retransmit the return to the IRS. Just a few other features that we're spotlighting during our webinar today. As I mentioned a couple times, we do offer the form status updates. Again, that just means that with each IRS status update, you'll be notified in your account and via email of what that update is. You'll have the option to retransmit rejected returns at no additional charge. And we also offer our live customer support available Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions along the way, the support team is dedicated, personalized, and available. We focus on your account and the questions you specifically have. You won't need to be on hold for several hours or be put on a callback list. When you need assistance with your return, you can give us a call or reach out via chat and email, and we're here to help you along the way. Please keep in mind, as the May 15th deadline approaches, our wait times may be longer. But as mentioned, you can reach out via email or chat and connect with us from there. And you can absolutely go ahead and get started on your return today to save you time. Tax 990 has put a lot of work into providing you with the best resources so you can review our knowledge base to get quick answers to common questions related to the filing process, form information, or filing requirements. You can also check out our YouTube and blog channels for helpful step-by-step guides and instructions. Leading up to the May 15th deadline, we will be hosting a webinar bootcamp every Thursday at 2 p.m. to focus on specific topics related to the 990 series filing. You can visit tax990.com/webinars to register for any of our upcoming webinars that relates to your filing requirements or to learn more about filing with Tax 990. If you're unable to attend any of the webinars, we will post them on our website after they air live. These will all just be short 20-minute topic-focused trainings, and next week we're going to take a look at completing the balance sheet on the 990 and 990EZ form using our form-based filing process. So go ahead and register for that now if that applies to your organization or you just would like to learn more about that process. We'll finish up today with a quick Q&A. If we don't get to your questions today, please reach out to our support team at support@tax990.com. We'll also send a follow-up email if we were unable to review your questions live today. We'd like to keep it within that 15 to 20 minute time frame. So again, if we don't get to your question, we will follow up with an email. But take a second to add your questions to the chat. Okay, so the first question we have is from William, and he is wondering what the significance of the May deadline is. I did talk a lot about the May 15th deadline just because it's an incredibly popular deadline for a lot of organizations. If your organization follows a calendar tax year, meaning your tax year began on January 1st and ended on December 31st, then your deadline is May 15th. So regardless, the deadline is the 5th month and the 15th day following the end of your organization's tax period. And we do have a couple of other webinars that focus on your deadline specifically. If you're not sure what your deadline is, you can reach out to our support team and we can help try to determine that information for you. But again, the May 15th deadline focuses on organizations that process a calendar tax year. Or if you filed an extension form in November, then your extended deadline is also May 15th. Jim is wondering if the client's 990N was rejected and they need to file a longer 990 series form for the same year, can they delete the rejected 990N? Yes, if your form is rejected because you filed the wrong form, you can delete that rejected return and start a new one. If your return is accepted, you cannot delete an accepted return. So you would have to contact the IRS, like we mentioned, for an issue with an accepted form. Michaela is wondering if a tax preparer can use Tax 990. Yes, so we have created our platform to be able to accommodate both tax preparers such as CPAs and accountants, as well as organization members such as treasurers or presidents or board members. So anybody can use Tax 990 to file a 990 series return for their organization or for their client. If you have more specific questions on that process or setting up your account appropriately, please reach out to our support team. And Morgan is wondering, how long does it take for a return to get accepted? Typically, there's a 24 to 48 hour turnaround time to get an updated form status. Typically, near a busy deadline like the May 15th deadline, that does get extended a little bit, and we advise a 3 to 5 day turnaround time. It just depends on how quickly the IRS can process those forms. All right, we'll do one more here. It looks like, okay. Adriana is wondering if we can file prior years. Yes, as mentioned previously when we were in the Tax 990 account, you can file for the current and 2 prior years. So right now we support 2023, 2022, and 2021 tax years. Okay, so we are going to finish up for today. If we didn't get to your question, like I said, I apologize, but we will reach out with an email to respond to your question, and you can also contact our support team. Thank you guys for attending. Please keep an eye out for some follow-up emails with the recording and next week's webinar, and please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a good day.